What about progesterone? Carrie wants to know, what about progesterone? I've noticed hair loss after changing the pill. You mean adding progesterone or taking progesterone away? Carrie, if you could give me a better clarity on that, I can give you a better answer. Shelby says, my hair has been falling out because I'm having a severe flare-up of Crohn's. I've tried hair vitamins in all of that, but I feel like until I get my nourishment straightened out, it won't get any better. Am I wrong? No, you're absolutely right, Shelby. You've got to get the Crohn's under control, and that's diet. I don't care who you've seen or what your diagnosis looked like. Crohn's, there are two primary drivers of Crohn's. And the biggest one is diet, and the second biggest one is the microbiome. It's the bacteria within you. So those two things need to be assessed with a very great level of accuracy so that you can make some serious decisions. Beverly's asking about the best form of vitamin C. Beverly, I'm biased there. If you want a gluten-free source of vitamin C, then Detox C is hands down the best. It's the best for other reasons, but if you're specifically looking for gluten-free variety, if you're looking for a vitamin C that's not oxidized, because a lot of over-the-counter vitamin Cs, by the time you open the bottle, they're already bad. They're already oxidized. To produce vitamin C right, you have to do it under a nitrogen blanket. Most manufacturers don't do it that way, and so by the time you actually open the bottle, half of the potency of the vitamin C has already been oxidized, and so it's ineffective. So you've got to use a vitamin C that's high quality, that's buffered with minerals, and that is produced under a nitrogen blanket if you want the best of the best, and that's what Detox C is. Let's go down on the right. Does monkey? All right, Mark, you're getting me, man. Does monkeypox cause hair loss? I hear that the smallpox vaccine gives 85% protection from monkeypox. Yeah, I think monkeypox, I mean, what have there been 80 cases around the world at this point? I think it's another scare tactic to get people on board with doing more injections. I don't think it's the thing that you need to be worried about. And it just tells me, Mark, you watch too much news. Turn it off, man. You'll do yourself a huge favor. But you did bring some good comedy to the show. My hair loss stopped, kind of reversed. Wasn't that bad yet. Okay, so maybe I didn't pick up on the question there. How much selenium do we need? What it would be the optimal level of selenium? It depends. So, I mean, you can stay with selenium, you can stay pretty safe, Melanie, between 200 and 400 micrograms a day, for 3 to 6 months. But if you go much longer than that, I would ask you, to get your doctor to measure your levels so that you don't overdo it. Let's go down more on the right-hand side. Let's see, 2 different emergency docs told me that they see a lot of bad digestive problems when celiacs get COVID. I was in such bad pain, couldn't eat for 2 weeks. It's not that celiacs have worse problems because of COVID. Most people that are, I can't even make this claim that most. I can make this claim that many people with celiac disease are on horrible diets. They're eating processed corn and rice and oats. And because those foods are labeled gluten-free, they think that somehow they're healthy. And the reality is they're still being glutened by different types of gluten found in those grains. And they're malnourished from their original diagnosis because they've never had proper guidance about how to dig themselves out of the hole of malnourishment. So when they get COVID, they're already at a disadvantage. And so they do have flares. But a healthy person with celiac disease is following the diet accurately and making the effort in their diet and lifestyle to be healthy is at no greater risk for side effects of COVID than anyone else who's in great health. So the emergency docs, maybe they didn't. I can't speak for them, and I know it's just hearsay, but it's my experience that emergency room docs are just generally they're trying to get people out of the emergency room, so they're not doing a super deep dive with most people. And Beatrice came back and said, I had COVID and celiac and did not have it severe. I doubled up on my herbs, veggies, and supplements. Yeah, I mean, that's a perfect example of somebody who's trying to do it right and stayed healthy even though they got it. Yeah, I like that. Beverly chimed in and said, I started going gray in my 20s, undiagnosed celiac, I believe. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that. I mean, celiac disease is one of the top deficiencies of celiac disease. In the top 3 list of top nutrient deficiencies is vitamin B12, which again is a major contributor to early premature graying of the hair. Yeah, so perfect example. So I just mentioned oats, and then Christy came back with, you just talked about oats. Should that be eliminated for celiacs, even if the oats are certified gluten-free and made in a dedicated facility? Are they bad for you? Yes, Christy. So oats, what's the deal with oats? We've got a link on our oats gluten-free. Let's put that up, Mel, if we can find that for Christy, because I don't want to belabor too much time on that. Oats have a type of gluten called avenine, and for many celiacs, avenine creates an inflammatory response, even though technically it's not gliadin. Gliadin is the type of gluten found in wheat, barley, and rye, but actually predominantly wheat, that causes damage, classic damage to celiacs. But avenine can also cause damage to celiacs. There are many celiacs that react to it but continue to eat it because, again, they've been told that oats can be certified gluten-free. Technically, it's a misnomer. Certified gluten-free in food label terms means gliadin-free, but oats has a type of gluten called avenine. And again, for many, it can cause damage, and you certainly want to know that so that you can straighten out your diet. What causes high DHEA? Chronic stress. High DHEA is a sign that you've been under a huge stress burden over a long period of time. That is, if you're not supplementing with it. And that stress burden is contributing to your adrenal glands trying to adapt to help you cope with that stress. And so your DHEA levels start to go up in that later stage of adrenal fatigue. So stress, and again, physical, chemical, emotional stress, all can occur in that way. Lack of iodine. So question about lack of iodine in hair, I'm going to assume. Yeah, lack of iodine can definitely cause hair loss. You need iodine to make thyroid hormone. So we're talking about hypothyroidism being a primary driver for hair thinning. T4 is thyroid hormone, and the 4 in T4 is iodine. So it's 4 molecules of iodine. So an iodine deficiency can definitely contribute to hair loss through poor thyroid function. Let's see here. I don't have alopecia, but my hair has become extra fine and has thinned out, especially in the front and sides. I take prednisone for the past 10 years. Yeah, I mean, it's causing that. And if you're taking prednisone for polymyositis, gosh, Arlene, I hate to hear you say that because that's a very treatable condition and reversible condition with the right diet. I could share a story with you. As a matter of fact, Mel, if you can, let's see if Mel can find it. Shanna's story. Shanna was a patient years ago who came to me with polymyositis, and we completely reversed her condition. That's just one example, but it's why I wrote No Grain, No Pain, Arlene. So if you really get a copy of the book and read it and apply it, and you might find that you need less steroids, because if you've been taking steroids for 10 years, now you're at risk for bone loss. Your muscles probably been chewed through. You're probably physically not very capable of exercise without pain. And the muscle atrophy in and of itself will cause osteoarthritis, which will make you hurt even more in different ways. So is red light therapy helpful to regrow hair? It can be, but so sunshine is free. And I would just say go outside. Over any kind of therapy. Red light therapy is not the solution for hair regrowth. The solution for hair regrowth is identifying why the hair loss occurred in the first place. And so I just say it, not say that you can't use red light therapy, but don't think that is going to be the solution. A lot of people get wrapped up into these kind of one-trick pony type solutions, like injecting steroids into the scalp or this therapy or that therapy. And really, it has to be a comprehensive approach so that you understand why the hair loss occurred in the first place and address it from that perspective. What can I do to make my frizzy hair more smooth? Well, if it's dry and frizzy and it hasn't always been that way, get your nutrition status evaluated, Dahlia. Because if you've got key nutrient deficiencies, there's a syndrome with copper deficiencies. Kinky hair syndrome can make your hair more frizzy and more kinky. Frizziness, actually, vitamin C, vitamin B5 deficiency. So get your nutrition status checked and see if there's a nutritional issue that you're dealing with, and address it appropriately. Can gluten be in healthy cleaning products or essential oils or other places? Yeah, gluten, it can be. It's not always, but it can be. I mean, I've seen gluten in a number of different cosmetics and soaps and shampoos and lotions. Actually, one of our viewers the other day sent me a picture of a toothbrush at a hotel. It was made from wheat starch. It was a throwaway toothbrush that the hotel gave out to patrons, and it was made out of wheat starch. It's the first time I'd ever seen anything like that. I thought it was quite wild, considering there an estimated 1% of all the U.S. population has celiac disease, and an estimated 7% of the population has non-celiac gluten sensitivity. All right, Arlene says, I was told I don't have celiac disease, but I still have GI problems eating gluten-free. I'm looking forward to your masterclass. Oh, yes, our masterclass, for those of you who haven't taken it yet, we can put a link up to that registration too, Mel. So those of you that don't know, maybe you're new, we have a masterclass on going gluten-free the right way. And if you haven't taken it yet and you think you're gluten-free, you need to take it, because you're probably doing some things inaccurately or incorrectly. And if you're still struggling in your health, that class may provide you with those answers. It's free to take. All you have to do, I think we just put up a link to that. All you have to do is register, and it's 14 hours long. You get to take the class over a seven-day period. So I highly recommend you go and sign up for that if you haven't already and you're still struggling and you've gone gluten-free. Or if you're trying to figure out whether gluten-free is the right move, good thing to do. So let's see here. Go down just a little more. I have Hashimoto's, been gluten-free for 10 years, have severe hair thinning for 5 years, and collagen makes me break out in one spot on my face, which won't go away. What test would you recommend? It's a battery of tests, Andy, because if you've got Hashimoto's, step one is find out why. Again, Hashimoto's can be triggered by gluten. If you've been gluten-free, depending on what kind of gluten-free diet you've been following. Some people follow a traditional gluten-free diet, which is wheat, barley, and rye-free, but they continue to eat oats and corn and rice and other grains. And so they don't really have a great response. They have some symptomatic improvement, but then they go through a period of what's called gluten-free whiplash, where they develop more autoimmunity. And that may be where you're at. I don't know. I don't have your history. But if you're gluten-free and you're still having thin hair, you might be suffering with malnutrition in other ways. And if collagen's making you break out, you may just have a reaction to the brand of collagen that you're using. I don't know if you're using my collagen or not, which is gluten-free, and some of them are not. And that may be playing a role in it. And so hard to say. Not enough information there to really give you super in tune. But I would say if you're looking at testing, again, hands down, those 4 categories: nutritional deficiency testing, food sensitivity testing, chemical exposure testing, and the last will be microbial balance, measuring your microbial balance. What about hair loss from collagen disorders like Ehlers Danlos? I've not yet seen a case, Rose, of Ehlers Danlos preventing a person from growing healthy head of hair. Now, Ehlers Danlos is more related to laxicity in the joints, but as far as capacity to grow hair, not a problem. So it's not the, I wouldn't blame the Ehlers Danlos on that, on the hair loss or hair thinning. Do co-washes, conditioning, contribute to hair loss? Depends on what's in them. I've seen cases where people were allergic to the ingredients in their shampoo, and that was a major trigger for why they were losing their hair. And that's something that can be tested as well. Don says, my hair at 75 years of age, still on my head, along to the bottom of my shoulder blades. I'm a man and silver but very thin hair now. I do live low carb and supplement, but it's getting thinner. Any ideas? Don, check your protein intake. We see this especially in the elderly. Not that I know you're 75, and hopefully you don't take offense at being elderly because you're probably super functional. But the fact of the matter is the digestive ability to break down protein from food is one of the few things that can occur with aging that can impact your nutrition. And so you might have amino acid deficits. So a couple things you could try. You could try taking acid to aid in the digestion of protein. You could also try taking a free-form amino acid formula to see if that improves your growth. I have something called ultra aminos, which is a blended formula of the key essential amino acids that do not have to be broken down. They're already in their smallest common denominator form. So even if you have a stomach acid problem, they still should absorb and go right in. Can living with an alcoholic cause hair loss? Yeah, if living with that alcoholic causes you tremendous stress, it absolutely can cause hair loss. So as far as, the different doctors with different ideas of what doses of zinc to take, 100 versus 20 milligrams, it largely depends on the individual. I sometimes put people on 100, 150 milligrams of zinc, but depending on their height, their size, their weight. So there are variable differences in what a therapeutic dose might mean. The other issue is I wouldn't go high dose zinc for any long period of time without properly testing an individual, because high dose of zinc indefinitely can contribute to copper deficits. And so you don't want to end up creating a problem as you're trying to support your immune system with zinc. If found to be deficient in particular nutrients, is it okay to take supplements under the supervision of a doctor in addition to changing my diet? Absolutely. Perfectly fine to do that. Does the size of the hair follicle mean anything? I noticed that I can hardly tell which end was in my scalp and which one was the end. It can mean certain things, but it also depends on what stage of hair loss or what stage of hair growth that particular cell is in. So like there are different stages of hair growth where the follicle is maturing and thickening, and so it just depends on what stage you're in if you're trying to compare the base to the tip of the hair shaft. I've lost most of my hair. I have high ANA levels, alopecia, and thyroid issues. What do I need to do? You need to get help, Campbell. That's what you need to do. You've got a complex problem that needs a complex evaluation. Positive ANA means you've got an active autoimmune problem. Alopecia means you have an active autoimmune problem. Depending on the nature of your thyroid issue, if it is an autoimmune thyroid issue, then now you're looking at 3 different forms of autoimmunity. Again, I can't emphasize this enough for any of you listening, but with autoimmunity, you have to measure the 4 categorical triggers if you want to understand why you have it. If you don't start from that fundamental premise, you're going to be chasing your tail for the rest of your life. And autoimmune disease is a major destroyer of life. It can kill you. So you don't want to take it lightly. And a lot of doctors don't take it seriously enough, or they medicate it to the level that they confuse your body to be able to communicate to you what you actually need to be doing. And so you've got to get those things measured. Let's see here. Are we doing a show next Monday or are we doing it Tuesday? I know next Monday's Memorial Day. Thanks for the well wishes, Russ, on Memorial Day. You'll get an email. If you guys are logged in, if you guys are signed up for my email, you'll get an email. I don't remember if we're doing a show next Monday or if we're pushing it to Tuesday. We may be pushing it to Tuesday because I think I'm taking a day off next Monday. Anyway. Okay. Gosh, we're 30 minutes past. So if I didn't get to your question, thanks for joining the show. Come back next week. We'll do our best to get to it next week. Hey, if you have more questions that you want to ask, you can also email me, glutenology@gmail.com. Email me your questions. We're here to serve. We're here to help you. Our goal here is to save 100 million lives. And if answering your question can help save yours, I'm all about that. So send us your questions if you've got them, and I'll do my best to get you an answer or to direct you to a resource that gives you an answer. If you're not signed up for our free email newsletter, go do that now. And head over to glutenfreesociety.org and just put your name and your email in the box. We won't spam you. We're not going to send you a bunch of junk. We're just going to send you high quality information about diet, lifestyle change, and nutrition that'll have a huge impact on your life and your family's life. So if you're not signed up, go there and do that. That's actually how you can stay abreast without all the latest and greatest censorship coming from big tech platforms. We're trying to do our best to overcome that censorship. The best way to do that, though, is to be on my mailing list because we can control that, whereas we can't control other platforms. So, look, thanks for joining me on your Monday evening. I hope tonight was helpful. And look, if you have a story that you'd like to share about hair loss and how a gluten-free diet changed or improved your hair loss, I'd love to hear that story. Send it to me, email it to me, type it into the comment section. There's a lot of skeptics that are watching the show tonight. They don't know where to start, don't know where to begin, and your story might just change their life. And remember, you have an obligation. If my information has helped change or save you, you have an obligation to pass that on and pay it forward, and I expect you to do that, and I appreciate you doing that. So have a great evening. We'll see you next Monday or Tuesday. I think it's Memorial Day, so I think it'll be Tuesday. But we'll see you next week, regardless, for another episode of Pick Dr. Osborne's Brain. Take care. Hey, if you've got a functional medicine or health question that you'd like me to answer for you, make sure you send me an email, glutenology@gmail.com, and we'll do our best to create a video answer just for you. Have a great day.